And I'm just playing devil's advocate because there might be, and there probably are, companies out there that have the hiring practices that if you do not have a college degree, we will not hire you. Like, I'm just talking about companies, one company, two companies, three companies, just any company. You just said the data here. So it's obviously not most companies, but there are certain companies, I'm sure, that, oh no, we see it all the time in the YouTube comments, all the time.
My company would never.
All the time in the TikTok comments. My company would never hire anybody. I am saying that there are companies like that. But this one company or this two companies, three companies, for whatever the role is, if it doesn't legally require a degree, for you to optimize around these three companies or this one company to hire you doesn't make any sense. You're going to go and spend 4.5 years. Your young adult is going to go ahead and spend 5.5 years of their life and $100,000, and they're going to go into debt to get this one job at this one company. Like, that doesn't make sense. Just go to another company and apply for whatever role that is. It's very similar to going to a company that only hires like 120-pound people. Oh, I only hire people that are 120 pounds. And it's like, well, I'm like 220 right now. So I guess I could absolutely lose 100 pounds.
Or I could just apply next door.
Or I could just go to a company that doesn't have such stupid rules. Just go to a company that doesn't hire just 120-pound people.
Also, the trends show that if you wait long enough, the company that you applied to will remove their requirements too. It's coming. And it's coming because companies are money focused and degree-free people churn less. That's the biggest takeaway that college graduates don't seem to understand. And oh, they're paying less. No, they're going to pay them exactly what they're going to pay you, but they are not going to leave. That's what's going to happen. That's why they're hiring them over you. My theory, that people have had some success with removing the degrees on their resumes and applying because employers are actually actively looking for not that. And there was recently a study done, a 2023 study showed that 800 US employers said they were likely or very likely to hire experience over degrees. That is what they're doing. It's now dripping down to a policy level. It took some time to drip down to the actual HR because usually they are papered, and it took some time to retrain them, and it's still taking time to retrain them. But on the flip side too, with the legal requirements, states are removing degree requirements too. Here are 18 states that have removed degree requirements: Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Alaska, Colorado, Utah, North Carolina, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Nevada, Washington, Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, and Minnesota. All have removed degree requirements from upwards of 80% of their state jobs. So all of the ones that it's completely unnecessary for, like park rangers, for instance, is a good example of that. Not national park rangers, but state park rangers, because that's ridiculous. It's a bachelor's degree was a requirement for most of those. Silly. Why? Any bachelor's degree, what bearing does that have on being a good park ranger? None. 0%. States are catching on to that. They did internal analysis and they looked and they just went, oh, we can remove these for almost all of our jobs. And then they proceeded to do that, which is very indicative to that I think it was Maryland. Was it Josh Shapiro? Oh, Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro. Remember that when he removed the degree requirements for the state of Pennsylvania? It was like 90%, which is very close to our 7.7% estimate for legal degree requirements. Very close.
I wanted to key in on one of the things that you always say as to try, which is for those people that are career changers and job seekers to remove their bachelor degree or remove their advanced degrees from their resumes and see if that gets them through. I always like to kind of just go for the jugular and say, remove the degree. And I just always like to temper it back and say, that is in the spirit of testing. What we mean is that if you are having a hard time, and this goes from 16 years old, from your very first job all the way to your last job before you retire. If you are having a hard time finding a job, depending on what stage you are in the job search process, depending on which stage that is, whether that's pre-interview, interview, negotiation, those are roughly the 3 stages that you're going to be in. You see where in those stages you are getting caught up in. So if you're in the pre-interview stage, which is meaning that you haven't gotten an interview, you have sent out 100, 200 applications, a lot of applications, and you haven't gotten any type of feedback and just been silenced the entire time, then you should test your job search materials. Your job search materials being your cover letter, your resume, your cold DMs, your outreaches, whatever it is, change something up because something is obviously not working. And in the spirit of that, one of the things that you could change is removing the degree from your resume. You just go for the jugular. And I just like to remind people that
it's in a battery of other tests.
Yeah, exactly. You've kind of left the station and we're really on a higher level of just testing things in general. You can test an entirely different resume format. That's another test that you could do. You could test not sending a resume in. You could test a video resume. You know what I mean? Like you could test so many things. You could test just sending in a link tree. Whatever it is that you want to test, that's what you should do. One of the tests that you can do is removing your degree from your resume. Just to be clear for everybody. That is the spirit of what we mean it. The reason why I always like to say that is because the next question that you always get when you say that is everybody's like, why would I do that? Well, let me explain why you would do that. But if you had explained it first, then we wouldn't have had to have this conversation.
No, I like to do this so that the people on YouTube can hate us even more than they do now.
Yeah.